Yo, it's your boy Not Just Suave, reporting live from the bus stop. Yo, this one's for y'all, the bus takers, who are the money makers.
Alright, y'all.
I see all of y'all.
Welcome to the bus stop. It's your host, Court Dog, whatever you want to call me. Welcome back to the bus stop, actually. Alright, y'all. So anyway, I was chilling at the bus stop the other day, and I came across a homegirl. I ran into an old homegirl. You know, we got the chopping it up and everything. And she was like, yo, you still working at the restaurant? What you doing? What are you doing lately? I'm like, yo, I work at a homeless shelter. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, yo, you know. She was like, well, how was that? How was that? You know, so I started telling her and everything. And I was like, you know what? This will be good for my audience. Let me tell you how it is, how it is working at how it is working at a homeless shelter. All right. First, I'm just going to tell you guys, like, my position, what my position entails, the demographic of people that we see working here, my opinions, and what you can do to help, what steps you can take to prevent homelessness yourself. All right. Cool. All right. So basically, for those of you that don't know, I live in the DMV. I'm from the DMV area. I grew up in Alexandria, Virginia. It's right outside Washington, D.C. We call it the DMV because it's the Washington metropolitan area. So, we're all fairly close to each other, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. So, yeah, I work at a local shelter, homeless shelter. The shelter that I work at, it's a nonprofit. We serve single men, single women, and families. You know what I mean? And so my position is called the intake coordinator / monitor. So basically, the intake coordinator, what I do is, like, when you come into the shelter, I am your first point of contact. I'm the person that you meet first, the person that you deal with first. You know what I mean? So get you in there, tour the facility, kind of just run down some of the rules, give you a bedding pack. Bedding, you get your sheets, blanket, washcloth, towel, pillow, and all that, pillowcase, If you just come in there butt naked, meaning you ain't got nothing, we'll provide you with some toiletries and all that, lotion, soap, deodorant. We have everything. You don't have any clothes or anything. Or if you come in with some clothes, we have a bed bug machine. It's called the Pack Tight. We zap that shit, right away. You can't even put your clothes in your room, you know what I mean? Because we all know that once you get bed bugs in somewhere, it's just hard to get rid of. So we just nip that in the bud immediately. So yeah, so after that, like I said, I explain the rules and everything, and I give an interview. So the interview is just like I take your ID and everything, make copies, ask a few pertinent questions. And this basically the interview is like to feel how to get a better understanding of how we can serve you from here on out. You know what I'm saying? And the interview part is crazy because this part, like, what's happened to me a few times after or during the interview is people would just bust out crying, like, out of nowhere, like, just I'll be like, you need some water or something? Nah, but like people just bust out crying, like, because like it could be overwhelming, especially if it's your first time homeless and you're telling somebody you don't know all your business, and it's really smacking you in the face that you're in a shelter and you never pictured yourself being there. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, well, let me just preface this by saying that, like, whenever people come in, I try to speak in like a gentle, even tone. I just try to just be very personable with them, let them, just while I'm guiding them through the process, because it can be overwhelming. But when people cry, I understand, because when you enter in a shelter or a situation like that, you have a range of emotions that you're going to. Like I said, it's overwhelming. A lot of people feel shock, like embarrassment, shame, anger. Sometimes all at once. Sometimes it's everyone's not the same though. But yeah, people feel emotion. So, I let them go ahead and get that out, and I try to just like use comforting language in that moment. I'm just like, yo, it's okay. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help. I just try to use calm, reassuring language and words and stuff like that, and a posture. I just try to be like, yo, it's all right. Like, get it on out. Let them get it out. get it on out. And like a lot of times they apologize, or they just like, I just can't believe I'm in a shelter. I've always lived my life right. I went to school. I'm like, all right, man, man, all right, I know, but but I get it. I let people feel those emotions. So yeah, I give them the rundown after the interview. I just kind of say, hey, this is your room. We give them a lock with a locker. Give them their own combination and everything, and that's basically what my position is. Also, I'm also a monitor, meaning like I watch the cameras and everything. I make sure everything's going smooth in the shelter. Somebody fighting, I got to break it up. We don't really have fights, but I'm also a monitor. I make sure everybody abides by the rules. One of the biggest rules now is wear your mask. So yeah, I'm doing one of those. As far as the demographics of the shelter, I mean, to be honest, people that live in the homeless shelter are your average everyday people like you and me. You could be your coworker, the girl that works at the grocery store, the guy that does construction. All type of people end up in a shelter. You know what I'm saying? I feel like sometimes people, when they think of a shelter, they think of the guy that's like pissy drunk on the street, laying on the ground and talking crazy. Nah, it's just regular, average, everyday people. So, yeah, that's who you see at the shelter usually. And but I'm gonna go through like the type of people, like the type of people that I see often. You know what I'm saying? Or the type. And I'm going to go through this because you might recognize this person in yourself or someone in your family or, someone to potentially end up in a situation or something like that. So just pay attention because this can get interesting. But some of the demographics that I see, like, average working person. I think they say, like, most of America is, like, one paycheck away from being homeless themselves. So it's not surprising that you're going to see like your just working class people. They're in there, Something might have happened, car broke down, rent got backed up, and this stuff just compounded and they lost their place. So you see those type of people, and they're just good average people. You got those regular people. Like I said, we have families. We have men, like husband, wife, and their children. We have them in there. We also have single fathers, single mothers. It gets hard. It's hard out here when you're doing it by yourself, or you don't have really a strong village just around you helping you out. You're doing it alone. So we have families too. We take everybody. We don't take chomos though. We don't take child molesters and rapists and all that. No. Y'all can go somewhere the fuck else. We don't take you guys. Bye. The demographic that, of course, that we see the most is the mentally ill. I think a lot of times people correlate homelessness with mental illness, but mental illness, that's a demographic that's very vulnerable in our population, and that's one that I feel like we deal with the most. You might have that young adult who comes in there who their mental health was just unaddressed by their family, and when they got older, it just got worse, and their family couldn't handle it, and they put them out. You see a lot of that, You see a lot of that. The family might have, Kevin just crazy. Sean just crazy. Sean. But when Sean gets a little older, you're like, wait a minute, Sean's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to address things when they come, when you start noticing them, because these people get older, and sometimes, if they haven't been medicated, the symptoms can get worse. And once they get older and they haven't been on the medication, sometimes it's hard to get an older person, like a young adult on the medication, because they don't want to take it. You know what I'm saying? So we see a lot, mental health is a very huge part of our demographic, and they're not bad people. Like I said, none of these people are bad people. They just struggle with their mental health. Some of them get on their medication, and once they start feeling better, they'll just stop taking it. And that's a problem, because they start reverting back to those old ways. So yeah, we see a lot of that. And it's sad because a lot of them are like young adults who parents just either not sure what to do or how to do it or what. But it's just, they put them out sometimes because they have other kids to worry about, and their son is not acting right, he's not doing this, not doing that. So yeah, we see that. The next demographic we have is the can't get right, just can't do shit right, can't keep a job, can't keep money in their pocket, they can't get right. We all know it can't get right. They always getting fired, always doing some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? No purpose, no real purpose, no real direction out here, just living, just existing, not really, not really doing anything productive with their time. They can't get right, you know. Didn't want to listen to nobody, dropped out of high school, just made bad as a crash dummy. You got those too. You see a lot of the crash dummies. But it is what it is. The next demographic is the foster child. People that grew up in the system, the foster care system. And it's sad because a lot of them, they grew up in the system. And a lot of times, we have some great foster parents out there, but a lot of times these people just do it for the money, don't really pour a lot of love or anything to these children, teach them anything. So once they age out of the foster care system, they just out there and they kind of just lost out here. And a lot of times they feel lost, they feel lonely. You know what I'm saying? They went from one place to another growing up, never really feeling like they had a home, and then they end up in a shelter. And it's just like another double whammy. So I feel like America has gotten better in the last decade or so as far as implementing some programs that can help people that grew up in the foster care system. But that demographic, it's sad for a lot of them that grew up in the system and just kind of lost in the sauce out here. The next demographic is we have addicts, the addicts out here, a lot of the addicts, you'll see a pattern with them. They do like jail, live on the streets, shelter, jail, streets, shelter. It's like a pattern. A lot of them are doing it for years and years and years. They'll go to jail for a while, and it's crazy because a lot of the addicts be cool. We already know that. Just because you're an addict don't mean you're a bad person. But a lot of the addicts, they're cool. I'm like, once they get out of jail, you talk to, they got clean a lot of the times. So you get to talk to them, see the real them, and you're like, okay, cool, man. You're funny. But then after a few weeks, you really start to see them revert back to those old addict ways, and they start acting crazy. Then it's like, damn. Then eventually they get put out the shelter because they either keep missing curfew or don't want to follow the rules or something like that. So that's your addicts there. Addicts don't get clean till they're ready, or till they just tired, sick, or just old. You know what I'm saying? Even then, sometimes they don't even stop. But it is what it is. The next demographic we see, people just got behind on their rent. Especially during the pandemic, some people lost their places, lost their jobs, and they didn't know how to apply for unemployment, or they didn't qualify for unemployment, or just got behind. So a lot of them are hustlers. Sometimes they just need to come to the shelter, stack their money up for a few months and then get back out there. So yeah, got that demographic. Next demographic, we got the chick that lost her house because of some dude. She had a housing voucher or Section 8, wasn't paying nothing but $100 a month, and then let some dude move in there, trap it out, and they all got put out. Yeah, we see those dummies. It's like, nah, let me stop. Yeah, but we see them. We all know that girl that, finally get a place for her and her kids, and let some random dude move in, and he get everybody put out. See that too many times. And we all know somebody like that. Next, we got the dude that always live off a woman. We all know that dude, too. He lived with his mother. Mother put him out. Lived with his sister. Sister put him out. Went with his aunt, lived with his aunt. And, or live with some girlfriend, go from girlfriend to girlfriend to girlfriend. They all put him out. They come to the shelter. He find another girl to live with her. I've seen that, too. And these guys are usually charming. We all know that dude. He's charming. The ladies love him. He's funny and everything. But, he lazy. He ain't got a job. He won't keep a job. He don't really help out around the house. And honestly, those guys would probably be able to stay somewhere if they really did it right. Like, help out. If you're not going to work, at least do something, So a lot of those guys, they come in and out of shelter. Those are the frequent flyers. When they come back, it's just like, hey, what's up, Johnny? Oh, you back? A girl dumped you, huh? It's like, so, yeah, we got those. Call those the frequent flyers right there. Yeah. Another demographic is, a lot of foreign people. Like, you'll see foreign women that wasn't born here that came here to this country with their husband, and their husband took care of everything, and their husband dies or something like that, or passed away, and they just out here lost in the sauce. They don't know how to do anything. Seen that a few times. Like, they don't know how to do nothing. The husband never taught them how to do anything. They're confused. They have a language barrier. It's another demographic. And yeah, That one's tough. But we do have a language bank that we use so that we can communicate with our clients that don't speak English like fluently. We communicate with them too. It's just a little bit more difficult, but we still make it happen because everyone needs help out here. Regardless of the difficulties that we or they may face. So we try to make it as easy as possible. You know what I mean? As far as the young adults, you'll see young kids in there coming to shelter just because they got a bad fucking attitude. Like, we seen that a lot, yo. Like, 18, 19, they just think they know everything, and they might even live with their parents and didn't want to help clean up, didn't want to help contribute, wanted to play the game all day. Their parents like, you got to get up out of here then. So they get out the shelter. They already got a fucking attitude, so they come to shelter with it, Sometimes it's hard dealing with people, but I've definitely had to boss up, as far as, like who the hell are you talking to type of thing. But for the most part, I always keep it professional, because a lot of these people, there are a lot of like precipitating factors, regarding the way some people act sometimes, whether they're angry or just pissed off or something like that. So you got to keep that in mind. A lot of these people had like hard backgrounds or, came from an abusive childhood or, a dysfunctional family. You never really know what people go through, especially when they're young like that, when they come in. So a lot of times they're just angry, they confused, they was never taught nothing. Sometimes their parents didn't teach them shit. They just raised them. They barely raised them. Just grew up with their siblings and just grew up in a house, and their parents didn't really teach them anything. You see that a lot, like, and that's sad too because I don't know, like. A lot of these young kids, they don't be knowing shit. Like their mom, like coddle them, and then, like especially for young guys, they grew up with their mother coddling them, and never making them like responsible or anything. So you'll ask them a question like, "Hey, what's your social security card?" Oh, I gotta call my mom. What? What's your social security number? I don't know. I gotta ask my mom. You be like, dog, you're 21, like. You see a lot of that. Like the mothers coddle them, didn't teach them shit, didn't prepare them for the world. That's the worst. It's like, oh, your child ain't gonna be a child forever. Like your job is to prepare them for the world because you ain't always gonna be here. And that's what leads me to my next one, which is another vulnerable, very, very vulnerable population, which is the, like mentally, like, how would I say it? Like mentally delayed or like autistic, that population. And we already know like the autistic like population has exploded, it seemed like, in the last 20 years or so. So we starting to see a lot of them that, they of course live with their parents their whole lives, and their parents may have been elderly or, mama may have gotten sick and died, and their parents didn't have anything in order as far as the next step for their child, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of them end up on the street. And I've seen some of them that were like slightly delayed, and like their parent died and the parent left them with a house and some money. They just spent all the money, or someone came around and just took advantage of them and spent all their money up, and just they lost their place, and then they were just on the street. So yeah, that's a cautionary tale right there. Like if your child, if you don't have a strong village or strong family or anything in place, and something happened to you, you need to have, it can get real out here because people are vultures. People are treacherous out here, They see that one mark, and that's it, Yeah, they see your son or your daughter, and they realize she a little slow or, not the smartest, or, And it's crazy because a lot of these kids usually are really good people, but they just not as mentally, adept to what goes on, and they can get taken advantage of. And I hate to see that type of thing but people are treacherous. That's the world that we live in. So yeah, you also just have some people out there, some of the young kids out there, that just don't have any family support. You know how you see online when people be like, yeah, I can't wait till my daughter or my son turn 18, they getting up out of here. So you got those. Their parents told them, all right, you 18, I gotta get out, and they just out here. And that sucks because they still young, it sucks. So those are a lot of the demographics that I see. Another one I want to point out is a lot of times people will, be experiencing or on the verge of experiencing homelessness or something, and sleeping in their car or actually experiencing homeless sleeping in their car or something, and they finally come to the shelter when it's like freezing cold outside or something like that, and they're just ashamed. You see that a lot. People that come in, they're just ashamed. They just like, yeah, I was living in a car, living, in a stairwell or something, and I was just ashamed to come into the shelter, And I get it, because your pride is something a lot of people have, especially for a man. I see men do that a lot. Like for a man, sometimes they might feel like less of a man if they really need to be in a shelter or something, So we see that. I've seen that a few times where the guys are just like, yo, I just slept out on the train and the subway. I kind of washed. I came in work early and washed up, but after a while, they caught on, and finally I just gave in. But we see that a lot, and they have jobs. A lot of these people have jobs. It's just it gets hard, it gets rough out here. It's expensive. You know what I'm saying? As far as working in a shelter, you want to be relatable. Like working in a shelter, you have to be relatable. You have to be able to connect with the people. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to talk the language. You got to be able to speak the language. You got to be able to understand. Can't be square. You can't be a square. You can't be a square. You could be a square, but as long as you're cool, Also, you got to treat people with respect and dignity. People already feel like they're at their lowest, so you can't be in there talking down to people or making them feel even less than what they already feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, treat people as your peer. I treat people as my peer. A lot of people in there, I know their families and stuff because I'm from this area. So, the older people, I feel like they're my aunts and my uncles, and people my age, I look at them as my peers, brothers and sisters. And the young kids in there, I look at them as my little nieces and nephews. I have a street element to me, so I'm able to relate a lot of the time to the language. I can speak the language. I can understand. I know what's going on. So, and also, like I said, being relatable. You can just say, hey, how you doing today? Oh, you got a job? Congratulations, man. I heard you got a job today. I heard you got a job, I try to be encouraging, People have questions. I try to help them. A lot of people can't read, so I always let people know, like, I don't directly ask, can you read? I would be like, hey, I'd be like, hey, if you have issues or anything with reading some emails or filling something out, let me know. And people do reach out. They be like, hey, sis, can you help me out with this? I'll be like, yeah. So I've helped people with resumes. Sometimes people can't read legal documents. They might get something in the mail or something like that. And I'll read it for them and then explain it in terms that they can really understand. And people really appreciate that, because some people do, it's not a good feeling sometimes when you can't navigate the world and really, really know what's going on. You can't read. It's not a good feeling. So I try to let people know that, I'm here if you need, help figuring some things out, And, yeah. And you got to understand that when you work and, we also want to make it, we don't want to make the environment at our shelter feel like a jail. We want to make it feel like home and as cozy as possible. Not too cozy because sometimes people don't want to leave, but we want people to feel like they're at home. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to make it feel like it's a jail. Like, do this, do that. Hey, you need to do this. But some people do push you there though. You got your asshole in there that just want to talk shit, don't want to do nothing, don't want to do chores, don't want to do shit. Cursing and everything. They just pissed off all the time. They causing trouble. You get those people too, and they do make you want to. Sometimes I want to snap, but I always have to remain professional. And people that know me know I got a mouth on me, so. But for the most part, everyone's cool. It's my people. I feel like it's my people in there. Like when I come to work, like I try to use inclusive language. Like even when I help, even during chores, I would help out there, get out there and help mop, help sweep. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, dog, we live here. Don't you want to help clean up? Sometimes people don't want to clean up. They want to be dirty. But like, dog, we all stay here. Don't you you got children? Like, what are you doing? So I try to chastise by using humor, but also I be dead serious. And people get it. It's like, come on, young, Like any other situation, like people get lazy. So sometimes you got to remind them, like, come on, dog. You ain't going to be here forever, but while you're here, you got to follow the rules. We've definitely had to put people out. And that's hard because, but some people, if you don't want to follow the rules, you got to get the fuck out. That's just the bottom line, How you can help. So I actually started off my job as a volunteer. I started off as a volunteer because I was laying around 2020 getting fat, during getting that COVID fat. And I was like, what, let me get my ass up and go to the shelter and volunteer a few days a week. So that's what I did. I started volunteering. Then eventually I was like, can I get a job? And they were like, sure. So that's how I got hired. And I got hired and then I got promoted in less than a year to the position that I am in now. So I'm full-time position with benefits. But yeah, how you can help is you can volunteer. You know, if you have some time, volunteer, mentor a kid in your neighborhood so that they don't become one of those children that, you know, end up on the street in a shelter. Another way you can help just in general is like if you notice one of your children or one of your nieces and nephews exhibiting some signs of mental illness, like try to address that. You know, it may be hard. Sometimes parents don't want to hear it though. Ain't nothing wrong with my baby. And I'll be like, yes, it is. And throw a few signs out there. Like you notice that one way to notice that someone's dealing with like a mental health issue is that they'll like stop showering. They just start looking unkempt. You know, they kind of talk to themselves. They withdraw. Start maybe smoking a lot or drinking a lot. And, you know, it's little signs, little symptoms. It could be depression, mental illness, or whatever. But, you know, these little signs you need to start paying attention to your loved ones, you know, that they may be suffering from some type of mental illness, you know. Also, if you're on the verge of experiencing homelessness, there are ways to prevent it. Like, if you get behind in rent, there are programs out here that you can, like, reach out and call. You got to do some legwork, though. It ain't going to fall in your fucking lap. But you got to reach out and, you know, get rental assistance and things like that. There are a lot of programs out there, but you got to ask the questions. You know what I'm saying? So if you're on the verge, you get behind in rent, you may start, you know, reach out to people. Reach out to your peers. Call 311. Call your social services. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But overall, I love what I do. I love the people. You know what I mean? Everybody's actually really cool. Like I said, you got your assholes, but that's anywhere you go, you know. And I came from the restaurant world, so in the restaurants, you know, I was dealing with assholes all day and all night, so I'm used to it. But for the most part, everyone's cool, you know. I know everyone's name, you know, and I try to make everyone feel at home especially when I'm working there. But yeah, that's what it's like working at a shelter. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Eventually, my end goal is I want to open up a few group homes. So in the next 5 years or so, I want to open a group home, and because that's where I feel I will thrive. So if you trying to throw me some money or whatever, you know, hit me up, hit me in my DM. I'll take about $100K, $200, $300, $400K, get this thing started. But yeah, that's what it's like working at a shelter. If you have any questions or anything, drop some comments. If you have any criticisms or anything, let me know. You know, if I could do better in a way or something like that, I'll take all type of criticism, constructive, all type. So yeah. All right, y'all. See you at the bus stop next time. Peace.
Hey yo, it's your boy Untitled Chapter, reporting live from the bus stop. Yo, this one's for y'all.